The initial idea was you pay how much you think the food was worth.
I think there are a number of reasons why we decided to implement Pay What You Want.
At the end, it's the customer who decides the price of the food. So he decides if our food is good.
It's very much almost built on the idea of equity rather than equality.
That's what stands us apart, I guess. It's arguably, there's probably two different reasons why we have Pay What You Want. One, we wanted everybody from university students to people who are just celebrating a night out to be able to experience this. Second is a lot of people feel that when they go out for a meal, they're not really getting what they pay for.
So we have people who are able to spend a lot of money on a very fine dining experience and are accustomed to paying higher end prices.
I feel it's a joint of emotion because some people don't like it, some people like it very much.
There was a big point of having a conversation with the guests, introducing the topic, making sure that they're comfortable with it, and just kind of guiding them through such a new process and such a new environment.
So the money is completely aside. That's why we don't put dollar amounts on there, because it's not as important as the experience. Lucrative?
Is it worth it?
It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
One example is that there was a group of 3 ladies that came in for lunch, had a nice lunch, 5 courses. They felt that it was comfortable paying $45 each, which is, again, completely reasonable. No number is wrong. And then that same evening, we had 4 businessmen come in. They had 6 courses, not that very much different in food. Ambiance was a little bit different, but they felt that the experience was worth $150 each.
You know, sometimes people will pay a very high price, and at the end of the day we find that those two extremes balance each other out. We never turn anyone away for the price that they are paying.
It is kind of a bummer when you see people pay something that you think you personally don't agree with or that you think doesn't fit with the whole equity standard, but at the same time it was our motto, it is our motto, and we just have to kind of appreciate that they came and enjoyed it as much as they did, whether that's a lot or a little.
Eu caio de bossa, eu sou quem eu sou. Eu saio da fossa, xingando e na go. Vai você, Vininha. Você que ouve não fala. Você que olha.
Public's response to Pay What You Want seems almost split down the middle.
Many of our bad reviews are because of the Pay What You Want system.
It's always an ongoing process to receive that feedback and put it into practice in terms of the suggestions that are made.
The unfortunate reality of it all is that there's more negatives than there is positive, because those are the ones who say something. 5 out of every 100, right, will speak.
Some of our guests do feel uncomfortable, and I appreciate their discomfort, but I never feel uncomfortable because I am confident in what I am presenting to them. You know, any discomfort they may feel is simply from some pre-misconception about paying extortionate prices for food.
They enjoy all the meal, and some people say at the end that Pay What You Want ruined the meal.
But I think a lot of people just weren't ready to see a concept like that and to just kind of freely give control of it.
Some people would say that they wouldn't come back just because of how complicated the Pay What You Want was, which really surprised me because I always expected that everyone would love to have the option of choosing how much you want to pay for the food, right?
There's only one time in the year that I've been here that I felt bad for the gentleman, and that was it. I didn't feel uncomfortable, but he was such a wonderful soul, and he was this older man with his wife just having this meal, and he looked at me, and the look in his eyes, he's like, "Can you just tell me what to pay? Just tell me." He's like, and his reason was, I have to think every minute of my entire day. I don't want to have to think about this. And the fact that you guys fed me and I didn't have to choose an item, I don't want to have to think about money.
você vai gostar. Tô levando uns
The peer management that we have, I think, is something very unique that makes us special.
Peer management is a mutual decision where everyone in the work environment participates on the same level of opinion.
The biggest challenge is people willing to step up and do things that are needed, right? Because when you're a manager, you have to take on all the roles. You have to do everything, regardless if you want to or not, because that's your job and that's your criteria. But in pure management, there's going to be a lot of people who just don't want to, so certain things fall through the wayside, or somebody who doesn't want to do it will step up.
Not every person has the capacity of working without supervision, or not every experienced chef has the capacity of not being really authoritarian.
I love the ideal of it, but to me it's an ideal. I do believe that ego can get in the way, because some people, for example, if they are taking on too much responsibility or more responsibility than their peers, which in a pure management system, their ego gets in the way. You have to really work on your communication in order for it to work properly. So it's an ongoing process. It's not just going to work just like this. It's constant work, but we're working on it. We're trying. We don't suggest prices. Some people really ask again. I was like, I understand that it really makes you feel uncomfortable. I understand that, and I genuinely feel for you right now, but we can't suggest a price.
But if you don't have any idea of how much you should pay, then our waiters or our team say more or less what they think the food is worth it.
On our website, we have given people a range of figures that we find people usually pay, but we, for the most part, leave it entirely up to our guests to decide their price.
But then other people were kind of offended that we did it because they thought that it took away from Pay What You Want. And it seems like no matter which direction we went, some people were just going to be uncomfortable and not like the system.